Denise, are we ready?
My daughter told me this stuff.
Denise, are we ready?
Okay, that's a history question, okay? That's a history question. The first three that I've sent, the first three people that I've found in front of my information out, one just said, I just installed it.
All right, if council is ready, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Alderman Danko, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will clerk, you please call the roll?
Alderman Arnett.
Here.
Alderman Chun.
Here.
Alderman Danko.
Here.
Alderwoman Erickson.
Here.
Alderwoman Inman.
Here.
Alderman Ketchum.
Here.
Alderman Kreinbrink.
Here.
And Alderman Robinson.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum present. One of the first items I had was a proclamation for Scott Francis. I don't see him here yet. He was gonna try to make it over here. He had class tonight. Yeah, so that's good. I'll just talk a little bit more. So I hope everybody had a good holiday. I know we're back into the regular business that we have before council. We kind of have a light agenda for this meeting and the next meeting, just to get some things off our plate and get some business done. And there are some things we'll need for reports from some of our staff, and we'll just get all caught up. So there is no attorney report. I'll go to the clerk, and then if Mr. Francis is there, we'll come back to the proclamation.
No report.
All right. That's not Mr. Francis. There's no treasurer's report at this point. It'll come out later in the month. Jeff, let's go ahead to you for the city administrator report, and then we'll come back to the proclamation.
Oh, and I was gonna hold my comments till next time, but that's okay.
We'll just give a couple.
Been a busy couple weeks, you know, with everybody in and out of the office, so we're getting back to things. We're still waiting for more information on the gutters for the Opera House. We're still planning to do it. Just need to, I think everybody takes a couple weeks off at Christmas, and sometimes it's hard to get a hold of everybody. So that's been going on. We do have a plan commission meeting next Tuesday, where we'll be taking up some issues there too. So if anybody's interested in attending that, that's 6:30 on Tuesday. I believe that's the 13th. So it sounds like we have some people coming, so
Looks like the whole dojo.
excellent.
My goodness.
That's good.
Okay, at this point, I'll move down and I'll read the proclamation up here so everybody can hear, but it's like all the instructors and students are making their way in. Carson, did you want to come up here? This was, you'd reached out to me about this. Did you want to be in the pictures? Well, I appreciate the heads
Please?
up. So,
Great idea.
you were so gracious to remind me of his milestone.
I guess I'm curious if anybody in the room has taken karate with Mr. Francis. No?
No, just me? All right, be careful,
No? Just your kids, my kids.
my kids. Well, I didn't take it from him. I took it with him at one point when he
Okay.
was just Scott Francis, nothing else behind his name. It was before USMC too. No, I see him out there. They're just waiting.
Oh. Got a comb in their hair. Well, let's see, I can come up with something else to talk about, I guess.
There we go. Scott, if you like, you can bring the whole dojo family up with you. We'll take some pictures when we're done. No, instructors too, Glenn. You can bring everybody up. I'll read the proclamation here, but then I'll come down when we present it. You can come up front this way. You can face the audience.
This guy in my life. Oh, I
I need all the protection I can get.
How are you? Good to see you, my friend.
Dave, all right. Yep, family, everybody, students, instructors. "30 years only happens once. 31 is a new milestone." Last time we were this big, we had high school students here with us. It's all good, though. Okay, is that everybody? All right, first of all, good evening, everyone. The City of Sandwich, a fair city, has a proclamation of appreciation for Scott Francis for recognition of 30 years in business. Whereas therefore Scott A. Francis has led Dojo Dynamics with distinguished and continued service as a business since 1996. And whereas therefore Scott Francis is celebrated with the legacy of instilling discipline, self-defense, and self-esteem in youth throughout the Sandwich area. Whereas therefore the citizens of the City of Sandwich have been benefactors of his selfless efforts and with commitment to health, fitness, and wellness. And whereas therefore his karate, through training, discipline, and perseverance, has resulted from the study of Ishan Syrinji-Ryu, a karate and form of martial arts, also with his service in the United States Marine Corps, that has been instilled in him that he's passed on to students, parents, and colleagues. Whereas therefore, many of the youth have been helped, mentored, and transformed into better individuals through his and his instructors' efforts. Now therefore, I, Ty Latham, Mayor of the City of Sandwich, on behalf of the citizens of the city, on this 5th day of January 2026, recognize and thank Scott A. Francis, business owner and entrepreneur. And in witness thereof, I've set my hand and seal with the clerk on this document. Okay, and that is it. We'll give this to you. Congratulations. Usually I read too fast and screw up half of it, so.
I think you did great.
Just get all the pictures and everybody come up with it.
I'm trying.
Okay, anybody else want to get a picture with? There it is.
Right.
Instructors, Mr. Glenville.
But everybody just kind of grouped in real quick.
Yep, whatever you need, it's your time. Any council want to come up? You can come up and get in the picture.
Can you get us all there? I'm used to this.
Hold on, let me try that again. This is what I.
Okay, those will be for sale after the meeting. I'm just kidding. We will share those, but Scott, again, congratulations. I've known you since high school, and my two boys studied karate with you, so thank you to all you and all your instructors.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Have a good meeting.
I recognize the name on that jacket.
You're all welcome to stick around if you'd
I
like.
know how important that is. So. You guys,
That's right.
congratulations. Thanks for coming.
Troy?
Not very much for the soccer player.
I go and I just watch. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Hey, Tony.
Okay. Yeah, that's what they do, yeah. Yeah, they'll like go in and out of the car, they'll keep under the car. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Finally got a
All
good.
right, now that our security has greatly diminished, we'll carry on with our meeting. Yeah, well, yes, true. All right, we'll move on to our city department reports, starting with EMA Director Tony Eberly.
So Christmas Eve, we supported, sorry, my brain's not working, Harvest Chapel. Thanks to Chief Sunny for his team to help support as well. A special call out to Officer Beatty for reaching out to an individual that didn't observe Scott's loss. I want to give a thanks to him. And tomorrow is at 10 o'clock is the outdoor warning siren testing. That's all that I have.
Okay, questions for Tony? All right, thank you, Tony. Our next report is for Police Department report, Chief Senni.
All right, just kind of brief what we did the last 2 weeks for events. We had our Christmas event, which was actually very successful. There was a continuous line from 5:30 to about 7:10. We probably had over 150 kids that got to see Santa that night. Played chair volleyball again. Sergeant Fosnot had his pop with the cop, attended Lunch and Learn. We also attended Plano Molding's Christmas event. And as Tony said, we assisted with traffic control for Harvest. Just let everybody know, Sergeant Fosnot, who's in the back there, he's going to actually start Staff and Command this month. He's going to the Staff and Command program, which is 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. This class that he's going to is an opportunity. It's scholarship-based, and it was tied to the fact that I had attended Staff and Command, and any police chief that has attended Staff and Command gets to send one of their officers to Staff and Command for free, so he's going to that training for free. Just a little update on the police social worker program. It's progressing well. She's actually going to begin riding with our officers for a few hours, starting late this week or maybe even next week. And I just need to clarify a misspeak that I had the last time. So we are currently involved in 27 active cases. With those active cases, we've had 70 contacts with those individuals. I think last time I said that we were involved in a certain number of cases, so those were actually contacts, but we still are actively involved in 27 cases. And just remember that program started at the beginning of November. So a lot of work being done by her, still developing that program too. Spoke about the Kendall County Chaplain Program. It's officially started with us, that we're going to be partnering them. They can come out for death notifications. They actually did it right along with us. This couple days ago, they rode with the night shift. They're going to also be doing that with us. Just an update on the squad cars. They should be in sometime this month. So we'll be anticipating our squad cars coming in this month. And then so something we talked about, this is a pilot program or an experiment that we're going to do. We're going to see about having adjudication is going to be over at the police department, since the vast majority of the cases are involved are police rated. So we're going to start that program this month, see how that works. We're just going to trial and see if that location's working out better. If not, we'll come back here. And our department meeting, our annual department meeting is scheduled for February 9th. And then on the February 16th council meeting, I'm intending to present the council with our yearly report. And then again, just want to remind the community of our page, and then also the community dashboard, lots of information on there. And then, as I always like to end, extend my thanks to the officers for the outstanding work that they do in every single day.
Okay, questions for Chief Senni? All right, thank you, Chief. All right, next item is item 10, unfinished business. This is discussion on potential changes to license permit fees for possible implementation starting May 1st, 2026. So every year we have an opportunity as council to review the fees that we charge for certain activities in the community. Our administrator has prepared some items for consideration. They may or may not be enacted by the council when we get to that point, but I'll let Jeff kind of talk a little bit about the background of the fees and open the floor up to council for questions or anything you feel should be added or looked at. Jeff?
All right. Hopefully everybody got the packet that I sent out with everything, with all the different fees in it. And unfortunately, I have it on this screen, not this screen. So, but I wanted to look at liquor license fees, amusements and entertainment. And basically what I tried to do is attach, on the spreadsheet, it says like at the top, 2018-08, that was the ordinance number of when that particular fee was put into place. And then in the case of liquor licenses, it was changed in 2022-18, then again in 2024-05, or that's the fifth ordinance of 2024. And then just for discussion purposes, I populated the 2026 column. We're obviously going to have some discussion on some of those, but I just had a few questions for the council as we begin to look at this and bring it back. Our Class A liquor license, which is on premises and package sales, I didn't notice anywhere in the code that it requires food. I know we have a number of establishments that do have food, and I think that's a good thing, but we have only 2 of our licenses are restaurants at this point in time, but we have a number of Class A licenses. So I didn't know if I had interpreted that incorrectly or if that's what it was, because I had understood that we wanted our Class A licenses to have food of some type.
Not necessarily.
Okay,
Rich, is your mic on?
Yeah. Not necessarily, as far as, I don't think that's what's necessarily required, but it just so happens that all of them, with the exception of Sandwich Freedom Hall and Sports Page, do sell food. So most of them are basically, for lack of a better term, bar and grill. But I don't think that's something that was mandatory. If you were looking at the Class E liquor licenses, which were always referred to as the restaurant license,
yep,
those always had a restaurant thing to them. There used to be 2 different E-licenses, and it had to do with square footage. We
okay.
got rid of that at some point. Now it's just the one E-license. I believe it was a little bit of a cheaper license for the restaurant. And something else that distinguished them before was that before we changed the liquor ordinance several years ago to allow alcohol sales on Easter and Christmas, people with a restaurant license could remain open on those days and sell alcohol in the course of food, such as a, Easter buffet, or if they're doing a Christmas dinner, but their bar area had to remain closed. So they could serve alcohol to the tables, but the bar portion itself was supposed to. But like I said, that was all in the past, and it had changed, but that's just a little bit of background, a little bit of history as far as what it used to be.
Okay. And then the Class B is your, what I would call liquor store, that's your retail liquor. That's not for consumption on the premises. C1 is the beer and wine at a gas station or an outlet like that. The C2, I've always heard it as the Pizza Hut license, just beer and wine with food. Then D1 is basically for it's for the community center, I guess, the Fox Valley Older Adults. That one has been kind of carved out for that. D2 is for a private club. I think we have 2, the Moose and the VFW. And then the E-license Rich just talked about, which is basically our restaurant license. I think we allow 4. We've only got 2 right now. The outdoor dining license is in there, but that's just kind of because that's in the code. That's not issued as a separate one, I don't believe. That's an annual thing.
Which one was that you were mentioning?
The outdoor dining license,
Yeah.
because that was, it's like $50.
It was for COVID, so they could dine outside.
Okay. And then the next one, Class F, was repealed. I think that was to be able to do gift baskets and put alcohol in those. Class H is for a banquet hall. We don't have any of those currently. My question was just, is that a per event, or is that for a year, or is that how did we want to do that? I thought it was written per event, so we might want to go back and look at that one. Class I is the hotel. J is the golf course. Class K is the gaming establishments. And then, for whatever reason, number 15 was taken out at some point in time. L is the Opera House. M would be if we had a brewery or distillery. And then Class N is the movie theater. And then a beer garden can be done. And the only suggestion I had there is that if they renewed it after the liquor license, would we want to do a larger fee for that or something like that? Because it might make sense just to do the liquor license and the beer garden at the same time.
Now is probably not the time, but that beer garden license probably needs to be addressed sometime and maybe even just taken out because there are places that currently have outdoor patio areas. So you could technically consider it a beer garden, but it's not a beer garden in essence as far as like they've got bands playing or anything like that. So that I'm aware of, we've never charged anybody a beer garden license, and I don't think anybody's ever paid a beer garden license, so.
And I think it has some other language too, and you're right, Rich, it has something, I think, to do with some fencing as well with that.
Well, this is a good opportunity to look at all these, and then if we want to pull any of them and get rid of them completely, now's the time to do it, as far as I'm concerned.
And those fees that you're suggesting, that's just, you're just putting those in there?
I'm just
because-
pulling them out of the air.
Okay, so Newmont Council, remember, council sets the number per license, that's who determines that.
I just didn't know if it would help having empty boxes there. So, all right, any questions on the liquor license section? No? Okay. Amusements and entertainments, and this is an area where I don't know where we want to go with this. There's a lot of detail in here. Would we want to just go to a special use permit or something like that, where any kind of an event like that would fit under it, or do we want to maintain where we're at? Currently, we have a circus license, we have a menagerie license, which I believe is like an animal display, or animals, I don't think it's a petting zoo, but it's like a mobile zoo. Carnivals, sideshows and concessions in connection with a circus. Exhibitions of inanimate objects. That's also, I believe, in correlation with the circus. Other public amusements not listed, those are there. Shooting galleries, my note there is, I don't know, I mean, I guess if we wanted to have one, but we don't allow firearms to be shot in the city limits, so I don't know if we'd want to consider that or not. Or I jokingly put a huge number in there if that's what we wanted to do, so. Automatic music devices, those are your jukeboxes. That section of the code's a little bit antiquated. I don't know if it included player pianos or what it was, but that was as part of it. Billiard and pool halls, there's a per table fee there. Bowling alleys per lane. Coin-operated amusement devices, I guess that's Pac-Man and pinball. We have an annual dance license. I don't know when the last time we issued one of those was. But then we also have a single dance license, so again, we just need to decide if we can thin this out and then make it a little more obvious. Go-kart tracks, motion pictures and theatricals. That one's kind of dated too. I think that's kind of like the, we had like the beer gardens, unfortunately, because I don't know that if the park district offers a movie in the park, we haven't charged them a fee for it. I don't know that we charge the movie theater anything specific for that. So that would be another area to look at. The raffles we put in a couple years ago, we've gotten a few of those, right, Denise?
Yes.
Okay. And animals, at one point in time, there was a daily boarding fee of $75 for animals. It looks like that was taken out at some point in time. There is a kennel fee if we have kennels. They're $2,000 for a kennel per year. And then the residential chicken permit is $25. So I don't know if we want to look at any of those. Businesses, bed and breakfast establishment, it's at $250. Tobacco we raised last year to $300. And that's for the retail sale of cigarettes. It's not any tax we can't do a tax on per pack or per carton or anything like that. Outdoor dining, we've got that as well here. If it's less than 100 square feet, it's $50. If it's more than 100, it's $100. Video gaming, we're at $125. The maximum set by the state is $250, and it's a maximum of six machines per location is the maximum. The ones in the cream color here are business licensing, hotel operator license. Those are ones that we don't have now, but those are things we've kind of discussed. I think it's appropriate for the council to consider those. Another one is storage facility licensing. If we had a storage facility that had 25 or less units, it would be so much a year, like $100 or, and these are just suggestions, but 26 to 99 units might be a different price, and then more than 100. And I think more than anything, it's so that we have registration and who to call on these things, because I don't know how much you guys get called out for storage unit stuff, but there's always the potential for it. So I think that would be part of the business licensing possibly. Short-term rental per unit, that's something that we would want to consider. I don't know that we have a lot of VRBO or things like that, but I know a lot of cities have instituted the registration for those short-term rentals.
You skipped over that Connex box. We don't even allow that, do we?
No, we don't, but there's sure a lot of them out there. That's why I threw it on there just for giggles, because we do have a lot of them out there if we wanted to allow them or if we need to just crack down on them and have them go away.
If we have them, and if it's not in code, why wouldn't they have been cited? Just bringing it up. We can go on to something else.
Thank you.
Yeah, some of them have been here for quite a long time, Rich.
It's just picking fights, that's all.
No,
It's which ones do we want to go after?
I guess I would, then again, maybe we should look at it as far as now that people are remodeling them and turning them into sheds and garages and
Homes,
living spaces and things like that. Maybe we need to
I do,
relook at that
I do know this has
with
came up
code.
a lot with development where they want something to lock their equipment and their supplies and materials so they don't disappear. That's been a kind of a new trend I think we've seen in the community. So I think Jeff put on there just something that we could consider.
And
I can
guess,
drive a half mile from where I work and find a house built out of Connex boxes, so.
and I know there's some for like storage only, and I'm thinking the old railroad car type.
Well, and that's what they are, is they're the shipping containers, and I used them in other places I worked. They're fantastic. They're weather tight. They work. They're just ugly. It's just a matter of, if we're gonna allow something, then that would be fine. Let's just require a fence or some kind of barrier or something around it so it's not unsightly. Because it would make sense. A lot of the contractors would use them. We've got them in a number of places. When you start looking for them, there's a lot more of them than I'm ready to tackle today. Let's put it that way.
Thank you.
Yep. Landlord registration, this kind of goes along with our discussion later on. If we decided we didn't want to, put it in the landlord's name, maybe we would just register landlords every year so we at least know who we're talking to, who we're coming to. If there is a tenant that bails out and is owed money, we know who to at least get in touch with, because that is a challenge for us sometimes. So I think that that's a valid thought. A vacant building registration fee, I think that might be a nice thing too, so that we know if somebody's not got anything going on in that building. That's a list then that the police can maintain, they can keep an eye on it.
It also require us to do some inspections and make sure it's not deteriorating to beyond a point that it can be recovered.
Exactly. And in light of some of the ones that we've had to deal with that have been vacant in the last couple of years, I think it's probably a worthwhile thing. That way we at least have a voluntary registration where they're letting us know what's going on and move on from there. Contractor license fee, that's just on there. We have started registering our contractors in Cloud Permit, but we don't actually have a fee for it at this point. It's been more about just making sure that we're using the software. Okay. Manufactured homes, mobile home park is regulated by the state, as we went through a couple years ago. It's set at $50 a year. The solicitor's application fee, and speaking with the police chief, we spend a lot of time and energy just doing the application for the solicitor, between fingerprinting them, making sure that we make the badges for them and all the other stuff. So we'd like to recommend that that number go up from $50 for the application. And then the daily fee has been 25. We can do whatever we want with that, but, and then our municipal code requires a $300 solicitor's bond. I don't know if we've been collecting that or not, but we haven't, okay. So, but that is what's in the municipal code. Roadside stands, there's an annual hawker's fee for $250. Special events for up to 3 days are $50. And then we've got the mobile food vendors, which is our food trucks. There's an annual fee for those, or they can do a single event. The farmer's market is an annual fee. And then the other one that I thought we might throw in there is a stationary food vendor, just in light of, we've seen food trucks that don't move. And I don't know whether that would be more or less, but I think especially if they're not moving, then it's a different thing. And we talked a little bit about that earlier this year, so that's something to consider. Scavenger fee, that's basically our garbage collection folks, and then according to our code, we have a $1,000 bond that's required with them. And then the dumpster fee, I suppose that one might be more chasing than it's worth for us, if every time we gotta try and figure out whose dumpster it is and whether it's been registered with us or not. So, Chapter 82, if you go into that, that's the traffic and vehicle stuff. And the chief and his folks have done a really good job with this in the last couple years with the
Ox cart.
ox cart and the overweight vehicle stuff. I don't know that we need to change the fees, but did you have any comments on that, chief?
No, I think the fees are good for now.
Okay. Yeah, because I think they,
Yeah, we're 0, right?
well, we had them before, but it was just a headache
Yeah,
to
to
collect
charge
them. And I think
weren't
you've done really
charging.
well with that. Vehicles for hire, I mean, we've offered taxi cabs an annual fee and then a per cab. I don't know if we want to consider that or just eliminate it with Uber and everything else that's out there these days. Things have kind of changed a little bit. So, the next section is utility fees. We actually, and what I did with this one, if you're following along on the list I gave you, we had some of these fees were added in 2003, some were 2021, some were 2023. And then in the next section, they haven't changed since 2005. And then just for comparison value on some of these, I took that last column and I went to the inflation calculator and just tried to see what the difference was. Since it's been 20 years, what was that fee before and what would the value be today? So access to premises for inspection. What this fee is, it was done in 2003. And it was if our superintendents make an appointment with somebody to come out and inspect their premises for a water meter or whatever, and they don't show up, we have in there that we can charge them the $30. So it's something we may want to consider bumping that up for inflation. The base water fee on a monthly basis is $20. That we weren't necessarily, that was just done in 2023. The base sewer fee was increased in 2021 and it was made $10. I think at this point, it may be relevant to look at trying to bump that to 20 just because we are going to start paying that bond back. We made a small payment this year, but that $20 would be about $100,000 that we'd be able to put towards that bond payment if we made that increase. And that would just make it the same as water. Connections to water mains in 2005, single-family home is $2,500. Multifamily is also $2,500, and then as you go through it, the business and industrial users go up by the meter size, either 3/4, 1 inch, 1.5, all the way up. And same with connection to the sprinkler system, that's just $150, and then it goes up from there based on the size of the pipe. I don't know that you can do a 1-inch sprinkler system, can you, Fred? I don't know that it would do much good, but I may have built that out that way. So And then connections to sewer mains.
Lawn sprinkler though? Is there something with that too?
Oh, it's probably lawn sprinkler, you're right. I was thinking fire suppression. So that would be a whole different deal. Connections to the sewer mains, in 2005, we had that at $3,000 for a single family. And then multifamily is also 3,000. The business and industrial sites started at 3,000 and then went up from there based on the meter size. And just for clarification, that meter size, we do not meter our sewer connections. The meter, your sewer bill is based on how much water you use. So it's 1 meter that's at the house and then that reads it. So then your sewer fee is based on your water usage. All right, wrong mouse. All right, and then we have a whole section on reconnection fees, which are 25% of the new connection fees. So I tried to spell all that out for everybody. A usage upgrade, like if you're gonna go from a 3/4 inch meter to 1.5 inches or whatever, you would pay the difference on that, plus the 25% and the tapping fees. Some of this requires a little algebra, which is, there's some calculations in there. Additional tapping charges, if the city has to come out and tap it with city personnel, it's $300 for 1 inch or less, or 1.5 inches or larger is $500. That's just to cover staff time for being out there. And then connection fees, you can see that's just adding a series of these other fees together, so. Excavation in the public right-of-way, I believe, and I didn't put that one on, I apologize. I think that we have 3 different levels right now for a right-of-way permit. I believe it's 150, 350, and something higher for commercial. So I'll have to get that for the next time. I apologize. And then turn on and shut off fees. In this section of the code, 8662, it shows the shut off fee at $30, which is what it was in 2005. And it remained at $30 in 2023. The reinstatement fee went from $30 to $50 in 2023. So, and that's basically what's happened. The other thing that we did raise back in 2023 was the after-hours fee if we have to reinstate somebody's water after hours, after business hours. And that went to $200. So I don't know that we need to go higher on that, but just wanted to make sure everybody had something to look at with it. So, any questions? I guess what I need is some consensus from everybody so we can bring something back that everybody can agree with.
So it's gonna take a little bit of time, right? We're gonna have this over a couple meetings, so look these over. You can compare them with other communities because we certainly want to be competitive, especially when it comes to our building permits. See if there's something you think we're missing and send it in to Jeff so we can research that a little bit more. And then we'll maybe bring this back in a more concise manner based upon the feedback. I know some of them seem kind of odd. We always kind of laugh about the circus, but if you lived here long enough, we've had a couple of those. The go-kart track used to be behind the VFW where the YMCA is, so whether we consolidate some of these might be an option. There's just a fee for these types of, usage, but, we do need to take a look at those. And some of those too, when you look at the call out after hours, keep in mind too, if we're calling staff out, we're paying them a minimum of $200 or 2 hours for a callback. If it's weekends, it could be more, depending on who's available in the time frame. So that's why that's a little bit more. So that might be something considered, and also focuses the fact that if, anything else, like you want service, you're the one that leaves work and comes and meets, either the cable guy or the employee. The other one was basically a cancellation fee, so if we make an appointment and you aren't there, that we charge a cancellation fee, just like my doctor does, or my dentist or anybody else. I think that's just kind of what people do now to cover their costs. So please look these over, see what you feel is appropriate, and then, like I said, what shouldn't be there and what should, and then we'll come back with something more in line with that. We're just trying to be, you can see there's been some jumps that we need to keep up with the times in some of these, so.
Hey Todd, I was wondering, could we possibly put one on there for special events? Like when we were doing the craft fair and stuff, we were wondering if there was supposed to be a special events thing, if there wasn't supposed to be, maybe, adding something on there for that, or not just for that, or, something that comes up in the near future?
Yeah, there's one for alcohol for just an event though. I'd have to look, but go ahead and send it to Jeff. As we compile the rest of these, we'll certainly take the entire list.
And then I had one other written on another piece of paper. Sometimes we have water meters that are running slow, and we have people who don't call us back about getting them replaced. And unfortunately, then we're having to estimate their usage. Maybe something after 30 days that we institute a fee, a daily fee, that every day that they don't get it replaced, it's gonna cost additional dollars, because we need to get people's attention. We do wind up chasing some of those things, and it goes on for months. So, just another thing to consider.
Okay, other thoughts or comments from council?
Denise, did you have anything to add? You're the one who ends up collecting all these, so.
She's been very quiet, I noticed this.
No, there's some I'll question later.
Okay, all right.
Well, the good thing is you work in the same office space, so you can just meet tomorrow.
That we can.
All right, we had no items for new business on the committee of the whole agenda. We'll move on to our report of older persons. Alderman Arnett.
I'm just gonna go with, at last city council, we talked about the need for additional employees, water department. It suggested somebody there. We've only had 2 forever. We have a lot of infrastructure that needs to be taken care of, fixed, looked after, hydrants that don't work, need to be repaired, stuff like this. Also, we had previously spoken, Fred had brought up the option of bringing an outside observer in to look at the city and make suggestions as far as what the possibility of new employees or direction of where the city hall is and how things are being run. I think it's something we should possibly talk about going forward in this year. That's it.
Okay. Alderman Chun.
I don't have anything right now.
Okay, Alderman Danko.
Yeah, I met with our new water superintendent today. The holidays are over, so we're trying to get on board and get him up to speed. And so I've asked him, because he's a new person, he has fresh eyes. So I asked him in our meeting in 2 weeks to come, so you all get to meet him and get his impression of what he's seen. I think those fresh eyes is, I think, really important. So I think he's gonna work out well, but I want you all to meet him. So if we have to put it on the agenda, or I can just have him talk during my segment, it doesn't matter.
He can come and give a report early on, says it's.
Okay, so that 2 weeks, so.
Okay. Yeah. Alderwoman Erickson,
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Alderwoman Inman,
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Alderman Ketchum.
I just, a couple weeks ago, Bill Fritch and I did a walk around the Opera House, and we were looking at like what was going on with when they're gonna start the gutters. Still nothing with that as far as we can tell. And I'm gonna go over, I think, the end of this week, beginning of next week, and we're gonna make a few repairs to some doors and a few other things. And we need to see what's going on with the water heater that was in the basement that was leaking and no longer working. But other than that, that's it.
Alderman Kreinbrink.
I guess maybe to follow up on what Alderman Arnett had to say, I do have one proposal for a leadership SWOT analysis, strategic plan. I was hoping to have another one by now. The one that I have right now, basically, recommendation is to complete a SWOT analysis, which was the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then also follow that up with a start, stop, and continue. Like, what should we start doing? What should we stop doing? What should we continue doing, right? So it's very self-explanatory. Sounds simple, but when you really drill it down, that then derives a whole bunch of other components that then goes into the master plan for the betterment of the community. What is being presented right now is just basically a one-on-one conversation with the department heads, a large group discussion with those department heads as well, doing the SWOT analysis and that sort of thing, followed by that start, stop, continue. And then what would happen is that he would facilitate the same thing with the council. then follow back up with an organizational plan for a 1 year, 90-day set of priorities, the 1 year plan, and then a 3 year picture of where we're headed, and hopefully either decide if we want to go with a 5 year long-term or even a 10-year long-term. Given the fact that we have a lot going on right now, I think maybe a shorter term would be better for us, but then have some of those visuals for us longer would be good. What this would do is it would help us align everything and put everything in perspective of where we need to head, right, for the future. Then followed back up with some post-work from the leader to put it all into perspective for us so we have a formalized plan. So I would like to talk with a few more people here one-on-one on this a little bit more, and then hopefully come up with a consensus. Hopefully we can get this other quote to come in and then make a decision. What I'm excited about with this is that this is something that I've done with the fire department, and it's something that I've done with other organizations that I'm affiliated with, and it really sheds light on where you're doing really well and where you maybe aren't doing so well. And it doesn't say that you're a failure. It doesn't say that you're not, faltering. It's just saying, hey, there are some areas that we need to improve upon, right? Are there areas that we're faltering? Yeah, there are, but they've been going on for a long time, and we need to improve on that. And I think we have. We've made a lot of headway this past year, and I'm proud of that. So a little bit of perspective on that, and then hopefully, we can talk a little bit more. I'll talk to each of you a little bit on this, and then hopefully we can get that other proposal in, and then we can make a consensus here on which direction we might want to head. Another benefit to doing it with an outsider is that there's no preconceived notion. There's no way that this is the way that we've done it in the past. Something fresh, something new, right? So, see where it brings us.
Okay, anything else, Fred?
That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Alderman Robinson?
Just a couple of things, and I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with what other aldermen have mentioned tonight. First off with Don talking about the new water superintendent. I mentioned a month or two ago the possibility or likelihood of us getting our department heads in here at least once a month to catch us up with what's going on, to actually hear from the people who are doing the work rather than just getting a report, from the mayor, from the city administrator. An opportunity to ask this person questions and probably not get an answer that night, because one thing I learned a long time ago is that most of the time if you're asking a question of somebody blindly during a meeting, if they're not prepared for it, don't know the answer, they're gonna have to get back to you. Not that they're avoiding or anything else, just they don't know the answer and they've gotta get that information or whatever. So it's one of those things that we should always be reaching out to these people ahead of time to ask them questions and things like that. But I think it would be a better opportunity for people to know who these people are if they were coming to a meeting at least once a month, whether it be the first or the second meeting. Wouldn't make a difference to me. I think if they're here for the committee meeting only, I think that'd be enough. They could get excused after that. That's just my personal opinion. Again, this whole thing is just my opinion, but when we talk about moving forward and wanting to know what's going on in the city and things like that, unless we're hearing from the people who are doing it day in and day out, I don't think we're gonna have a clear picture of it. Second thing, talking about needing additional manpower, we know that pretty much every department within the last month or so has said that they need help or want to get additional help, whether it be the street department, water department, sewer, city hall, PD, you name it. If we create a new department, they would need help too. The point is, we need to go back to what is it that we want here in the city of Sandwich. Are we gonna stick with the city administrator position that's been new for 5 years, 6 years? Are we going to stick with something like that? Or are we switching gears and going back to having a on-staff city engineer, not a firm, but an on-staff city engineer who also acts as our public works director? Or do we get just a public works director who has knowledge and experience as an engineer, who can guide us through some of these things and work through some of these things? Because I think we lose a lot on every project that we're in when we've got 2 or 3 or 4 different engineering firms, and some did this part of the work, some did this part of the work, some did this work 5 years ago, but now that information isn't available. Even though we paid them to do the work 5 years ago, that information has disappeared. We don't have it, and now we have to start from scratch and pay for that work to be done again, whether it be from that firm or a different firm. So these are just observations I've been making and things that we have talked about in a roundabout way, and I'm just gonna continue to bring them up because we need to move forward and decide what do we want to do and figure that out. So, but that's all of us that need to do it, not pointing fingers at anybody, because I'm part of this group and we just need to decide. So that's all I had.
Okay, thank you, Rich. Any audience comments? All right, hearing none. Motion to adjourn the committee of the whole meeting?
Yes.
Alderman Robinson, is there a second?
I'll second.
Alderman Erickson, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right,